Hi, friends and family. Thanks for tuning in to this week's Thursday Night Thought. This Thursday Night Thought is a follow-on of last week. And for those of you who are new to following me on Facebook, every Thursday night I share a thought. And this thought typically comes from a message and experiences in my life. And I share these thoughts because I want to create an awareness that our own life is always trying to communicate with us and give us messages. They're not audible messages. A lot of times it's just what is going on in our life that if we just paid attention to, it could shift things in a dramatic way. Last week's thought was this, or last week's message was this. If you can't see yourself in what you project onto another, then you've repressed it. Let me say that again. If you can't see yourself in what you project onto another, then you've repressed it. Typically, I get a life situation and then I get a message. I see my life experience, I get a message. This week and last week was very different. Last week I got the message and I had to figure out how it applied to my life. So I paid attention to what was going on in my experience. And what I recognized was last week, my husband had had some things going on in his life and he was coming home frustrated and angry. And this frustration and anger, I didn't like it. I'm a lover. I love to enjoy life and enjoy a relationship. And so for him to come home frustrated and angry was starting to anger me. So I recognized, okay, what am I projecting onto another person? Well, I was projecting anger. He's angry and upset. I'm angry and upset that he's angry and upset. So how did I shift this? Well, by paying attention to the message, I recognized that I was repressing that anger within myself. So I was repressing that anger, meaning I wasn't looking at it within me, I was projecting it onto someone else. But what does that mean? It means that when I was repressing it, I wasn't dealing with it. I wasn't looking at it. It was something that I wanted to bury and not deal with. Therefore, nothing's going to change. But when I did look at it and recognize that I was angry, that I was the one upset for someone else being angry and upset, all of a sudden there was this aha moment that I was projecting what it is I was repressing within myself. So I dealt with that anger and I dealt with that frustration and I gave myself permission to feel it because I didn't want to feel it. Instead, I wanted to project it onto him. But I was angry and upset, and I really had to deal with it within myself. And when I did, it shifted everything in our marriage and last week, because I was able to say, you know what, if I give myself permission to deal with that anger, then it's like I give another person permission to deal with that anger. Because the truth is, we all experience emotions. I don't believe that someone is only experiencing an emotion. I believe we're on this continuum. And some of us are sad and some of us are happy and some of us are having hate and some of us are experiencing love. And it doesn't matter where we're at on the continuum. We're human. We're going to experience emotion. It's what do we do with that emotion? What are our words? What are our actions? What are our deeds? That's what's creating our life. So if we can recognize the emotion and not repress it, then we can actually deal with it and allow other humans to experience that emotion. And what this did is it allowed him to process through it and come to a place where he shifted. But if I would have stayed in that anger, if I would have stayed in that space of frustration and anger at him, we would have stayed at that same level and we wouldn't have moved past it. So a great example, and I saw it this week, is the hatred that was being spewed out on Facebook about this election towards people who were hating people who hated certain things. it was like it was just staying at that level of hatred. Nothing's changing because the hatred that they're feeling for the people who hate is the same. So we have to deal with our own emotions. We have to recognize that. We have to bring awareness to that in order to allow ourselves permission to feel it. And once we've allowed ourselves permission to feel it, then we don't project it onto another person because we've dealt with it. And we allow other people to experience those emotions. That's this week's Thursday Night Thought. I look forward to sharing next week's. Thank you for tuning in.